presentation very briefly is called is International Development Cooperation Reforms in Benue State, Diaspora Partnership for Sustainable Development. It's a co-author paper presented by Mr. Sam Agua, who unfortunately could not make it here with me, and myself, Kena Keskingu, the Special Assistant on Special Duties and Strategy. Sam Agua is a Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Benue State on International Development and Cooperation. And this again underscores the importance the present administration attaches to international development and our relationship with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Goals of our current international development cooperation primarily would be to attract, enhance, and maintain joint development initiatives with donor organizations, non-government organizations, and particularly outfits like the Mutual Union of the Team in America. And the essence would be just to increase the levels of involvement of our brothers and sisters back here in state development. Our international development cooperation targets, among many things, would include the new and existing partnerships developed and strengthened to enhance the benefits of cooperation with non-governmental sector, MUTA underscore, international development partners and foreign countries, harness partnership towards information and communication technology in the advancement of one, agriculture, that's mechanized agriculture, science and technology in the areas of research, and finally, an attempt to expose Benue youth to global opportunities. The strategies are multifaceted, but primarily the essence will be to canvass, establish and maintain development partnership with individuals like you and myself, states and non-state actors like MUTA, and other organizations to complement local development efforts. Also to clarify budgetary and other logistic provisions of our existing potentials. But I'm particularly interested in the area which says to harness potentials of existing internal and diaspora human resources under frameworks of Benue indigenes in diaspora, which we call BIND, and Benue indigenes in diaspora, etc., etc. We had earlier spoken of experiences and our intention, or the intention of the present administration, to partner with our brothers who have been here. The essence is that you have been here, you belong, and you see what development is. You know the primary basics of development. And it's the expectation of the government that you mustn't necessarily come back home as a commissioner or a cabinet member, but in whatever of sphere that you can contribute. I was listening to Professor Gira this morning, and it is very brief speech. We came to understand, because after the speech I asked him if he has a copy of that. And I think I've come to one resolution in my mind, that you know more about Benue at home than we think you know. And I must confess also that the tradition has been, or the notion before now has been, that our brothers and sisters have stayed here so long that they've lost touch with the world. Even in an age where the world is becoming one global village, and we have to rely on each other. Governments back home still believe that our brothers and sisters out here have little, or at times nothing to give. And that is very wrong. It's an impression the present administration is consciously making efforts to redirect. And we're also challenging you that you must realize now that home is home, and you also have a stake to play. The broad International Development Cooperation gains since May 2002. Very few to mention. Attention is on the ownership and involvement of beneficiaries at all levels so that they can be in the driver's seat. A practical experience is the mutual health fair. You've been home, and government has made conscious efforts to allow motor participants, when they are home, to take the initiative themselves and even drive it to the villages. And this has been a success as far as we can all compliment ourselves. And I think even beyond that, what we simply mean by being in the driver's seat is that it's a practical experience of having the open door policy. If you have an idea, you come home, I can assure you that you get the best of cooperation from the present-day administration to drive this same idea back to the very people for whom it's intended. Secondly, there is creation of International Development Cooperation Department in the Governor's office. That is the office headed by my dear friend who was supposed to present this together. Renewing and strengthening of existing cooperation frameworks with UNDP, DFID, World Bank, UNICEF, UNFPA, World Health Organization, and USAID and health system funds. It is tragic to also know that in the last few years, as of 2 years ago, all the donor agencies that had offices or representations in Benue left. The reasons were very unfortunate. In most cases, what these people wanted was access to governance or government or partnership. And in most cases, the people came with their money, begging to be welcome to developers. And people stay in Benue for months at a time without having access to a government official to reassure them that government appreciates what you're doing. And most of them, like health system funds, USAID or DFID, packed their things and left Benue. Most of these organizations were pulled home because of efforts by people like you here, who had told them that go to Benue, my place, this is what and what we need. They went home and the doors were not open for them. But I think the situation is different today, and I tell you, almost all the organizations you have here have found themselves or are finding their way back to Benue to contribute in their own little way or the other. I told you about the donor fatigue experience we're having. So a lot of them are quite skeptical about going back. But I think with the collaboration and support of our brothers and sisters out here, with whom most of these you work or most of these organizations have regard for, if you put in a word or two again, I think the story will be different and they will go back. Timely disbursement of counterpart funding, even at the state and at the national and international levels. Government has dedicated funds to meet up our education and health counterpart funding. We have done that. We've received criticism also from our own indigents, unfortunately. But I think if somebody tells you to bring a certain percentage to assure me that this money I'm bringing can be guaranteed, in most cases it's just security. The money is supposed to revert back. We had experiences where government was not able to meet such obligations and we lost out in such gains. International development gains since May 2007. I will resist the temptation of blowing the trumpet of the administration so much and proceed, if you permit me. The International Development Corporation in Benue before May 2010, even that I don't think we should overflow. For obvious reasons, we were where we are, and for obvious reasons, we are where we are today. Our strength, agile chief executive officer. We have been blessed to have on the driver's seat as in Benue, a young and dynamic man who also appreciates the rare responsibility that the people of Benue State have given to him. And for Gabriel Suswan, it's a generational responsibility. He knows that once he fails, a generation has lost it. It's also important for him to realize that he's a very ambitious young man who also realizes that this is merely a stepping stone for greater challenges which the people of Benue State may trust up to him. And so he's very active and willing to do. But again, I must add here that governance is a collective responsibility.